Yo, what is up, YouTube? Welcome, everybody to a SchniDog stream. What's going on? What's going on? As usual, we usually have a one hiccup during a stream, and this was last minute calling of, hey SchniDog, I need your footage, bro. Let me let me grab your stream, the entire stream itself. But welcome everybody. Today is a brand new type of. All right, we're good. Welcome back, everybody. Like I was saying, we have a brand new type of live stream today. Very different from what we've done before. Today, we are talking everything, spoilers of Tears of the Kingdom. I cannot believe how long this has taken us to do this. We've been talking about doing this for the longest time on top of a bunch of other stuff. But today's the day. Hopefully you enjoy. Me and SchniDog are going to go through all things spoilers, from the story to the gameplay to our overall impressions of the Zelda universe and how it all connects to one another. Let me, by the way, skip ahead a little bit, because we're just riffing off a SchniDog stream right here. But without further ado, let me welcome you. SchniDog, welcome to the live stream. Hopefully people can hear you. And how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. Of course, I'm streaming right now. I'm playing the game as we're talking, I haven't beat the game yet.
So this was your final live stream here. And of course, it looks beautiful, obviously, but it's a little jank. I don't have it at the center and all that, but forgive us, all right? This is your little viewing port of to keep your eyes focused as we talk here. But you know what? Let's just jump right off the bat on our overall thoughts of the game. Let's just keep it so loose. I would say halfway through, guys, we are going to take your questions. Not really comments. Like, you can just type in the chat whatever comment you want. But it's going to be very hard for us to see a question if we miss it halfway through the stream. So, if you want to join the Discord, hit up the Legend of Zelda chat. Put a spoiler tag, because the Discord might not be caught up on Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, so be respectful of that. But yeah, type away, give us your questions, and we will get to them halfway through the stream. Very different. Normally I'd be talking to you like through the entire stream, and I see a couple new people, so welcome. But let's get into it. SchniDog, what is your, I guess, overall thoughts on the entire game itself, and whatever you want to talk about off the top of the bat? I don't know.
So my overall thoughts are, I don't understand why the game took 5 years to release, as it is basically just a regurgitated Breath of the Wild with extra mechanics. With that said though, I still think it's an amazing game. It's Legend of Zelda, it's Breath of the Wild, which is really good. I just thought maybe they should have done more things to be inventive and creative, and it kind of seemed like they were throwing a lot of the same things back at us again.
Yeah, honestly, because I beat it a couple months ago, and it's perfect that we didn't do it right off the bat, because once I beat the game, at least, I was like, oh my god, that was like the best thing ever. I was hyped, You get that adrenaline pumping once you beat something, and you go through the entire process. But as I've had time to think and just, I guess, I don't know, reminisce of the game, it's honestly a little too large at some places. Especially that they make you do a lot of the same stuff, like the Korok hunting and some of the more miscellaneous side quests. Overall, though, I think the story in this one has some flaws, but I do like it overall. Like, let's say, without going into it too deeply right off the bat, if they had given us the memories in order, that would have been fantastic, because I saw some stuff way out of order, and that was it's not very good when you see the ending of the backstory before you see the beginning. So that would have been nice if they kind of gave us a cohesive backstory, or at least story in particular, right? So
yeah, no, I agree for sure. That was obviously something they should have done better, because they give you the first tier, or that's part of the story with Impa.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, that's pretty awesome. But then as you explore, which is like the whole gimmick of Breath of the Wild and Tears, which is just the free exploration, you kind of see things and you find the puddles, you see a memory, and you're like, whoa, what is this? Who's this? What's going on? So that was definitely, they kind of missed the mark on that one for sure.
I guess we can go into it. Technically, you could do it in order. Say if you went into the Forgotten Temple and I took a snapshot of it actually, but I didn't go in order. I just went wherever I was, I would just go to one of those puddles, right? So if you go to the Forgotten Temple, there's an actual like rune, and you can just look around, and like it shows you each one in particular that you're supposed to go to. But with a game like this, where it's so open world and it's supposed to be you do whatever you want. It's kind of weird that they would put these little memories, kind of like Breath of the Wild, because they wanted it to be more like Breath of the Wild. I would assume. Um, they would just have them in different order, just like Breath of the Wild, even though the story is more banging on like you completing it in a certain path. Um, I guess that's most of the story again is through backstory, but we do get a bit going into say the future or the present, which is actually one of the I would say the darkest, more saddest Zelda stories. I mean, just like Zelda herself. In terms of the game, wasn't as crazy dark as we were probably hoping it would be. Um, like let's just say it's just more of a sad sob story, and we'll get into the story in a second, but um, that is something I was more looking forward to. I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be like Majora's Mask. We're gonna get like some crazy dark like moon coming down and killing us. Obviously not, but
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I thought too. You know, you got those definitely like those macabre vibes. Like you really thought something dark, and especially with the art style that they gave Ganon, you're like, whoa, what is going on?
I will
And
tell you though.
they kind of derive from it. It seemed like.
Yeah, I will tell you though that is one of the darkest looking Ganons I've ever seen. Which, not to get in, I mean, you're here for a spoiler check, guys, and by like the end, you're like, okay, we're ready to fight this demon Ganon. He turns back into regular Ganon. I was like, what is this? I wanted to fight the zombie dude, but
I know.
of course they didn't give that to us. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Anyways,
I thought like, maybe you would have a phase of fighting
yeah.
like the zombified, and just no, you didn't. So that was kind of a letdown for me for the final boss
I
fight.
think it would have been perfect too if you got to that final boss and it was just like, okay, he's almost at full power. Let's fight him, and you have like a little fight, and then maybe you lose in a way, not to the point where you die, but you know you lose, and he gets up on his little pedestal and he's like, "All right, it's time." Becomes full, as you would say, Daddy Ganon. Um, but they didn't do that. That was pretty sad, and I mean, throughout the story with the I would say the halfway point. I'm putting quotations, even though I don't have my camera on right now. But halfway point where you go to the castle, you see the projection of Phantom Ganon in the back, and you have that fight, and there's just like what, like 5 to 10 Phantom Ganons like swarming you.
Yeah.
Um, I guess that's kind of the Phantom Ganon fight, but it wasn't. I wasn't expecting not to fight him in the end. You know, I was fully expecting to actually fight the zombified version, not Phantom Ganon, but the zombified version.
Yeah, the zombified, but like the one that they kind of illustrate, or the one they showcased in the trailer, really, like you kind of thought that that would have a lot of impact on the gameplay, and it was just kind of just nothing. Like, it was just like more schematics or scenery,
Yeah,
and then out the door.
yeah. One thing they showed in the trailer, or what they didn't show in the trailer. All right, we should be good. We should be good. On the night that OBS should work, it doesn't work. So forgive me, guys. Forgive me. Where were we? Where were we? Oh, the trailer. Yes, the trailer. It showed a lot of these Sky Islands, and I kind of zoomed ahead to maybe one of the more spoilery points that I was just about to get to. They didn't show a single thing about the chasm. The chasm is such. That was such an jaw-dropping moment for me, because of course they didn't show anything about it. They didn't advertise anything about it. So when you got to that point, like, what was your, I guess, reaction to it? I didn't actually, to be honest with you, and to be honest with a lot of people, I get to the point with new games where I'm like, okay, I can't watch a single thing, no spoilers for me. And then I watch things like this, actually, where we just go into open spoiler, we just talk for like, I don't know, an hour or two. But what were your initial thoughts to the chasm and everything down in the chasm?
I actually thought it was really impressive. I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And I discovered it way late too, like way late. And I
Okay.
feel like I wish I would have discovered it way earlier, because there's a lot of good items down here to obtain. The only thing with this is that it gets so mentally draining to do, because it's as big as the map, like the regular map.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, oh my god, how long is this? Where do I gotta go? You gotta find all the light routes, and it can get kind of
It is
repetitive.
tedious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very tedious. That's the word I'm looking for.
because
Incredibly tedious.
because the chasm itself is like so barren, and you have a couple of these bigger enemies like the frogs and the I guess the stone. What are they called? Jesus, the constructors, the big
Yeah,
constructor
constructors.
dudes.
Yep.
But other than that, it's a lot of walking in the dark, and even with the suit you have on right now, that little miner suit, you don't get a lot of light. You do get a decent
Yeah.
amount of light, but I would still use bright blooms over the helmet itself. Like I would use all that, but bright blooms were still needed. It's not like this suit right here gave any like OP light, you know, where it's just like you saw halfway
Yeah,
across the
yeah.
chasm. Obviously, they wouldn't probably do that, but it would have been nice to have a little bit more in the chasm where I'm going. But it was a cool thought. Like the first part was like, oh my god, like there's a whole other map, and then you're going through it, you're going through it, you're going through it, and is this a word? Funnily enough, I found the spirit temple before I even did like two of the regular temples, which was crazy. I just found it one night, and then the next night I went to the Stormcloud Islands, and I literally just flew in, trusted my eyes, which they're not very good. I have glasses, obviously, but flew in there, and I found it. I was so surprised with myself. I found a way in, got in there, and found the fifth sage, the I would assume secret sage, but then again, the story kind of wants you to do it by the end, which I obviously didn't. But in I guess your journey, what did you do first? What was your first temple? What was your first, I guess, objective in Tears?
My first objective was to get as many shrines as possible because I learned from Breath of the Wild if you want to have any type of stamina or hearts, shrine, shrine, shrine. If you want to warp anywhere, shrine, shrine, shrine.
Oh yeah.
So that's actually the first thing I did was literally just excavate and travel everywhere I could on the map, try to get every single tower. That way I could, warp, do this, upgrade, and then I started doing part of the story. So I literally explored the entire map before I did anything else.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to rush this, and that's why I didn't stream it to begin with. So I literally took my sweet, sweet time with the game. Literally, that's why I found the fifth temple the way I did. Is just because I was exploring so much, and I didn't want to do any of the temples. But by exploring, you find secrets like the Spirit Temple, like the certain Sky Islands that are more recognizable, more memorable, I should say. Like the one that was kind of like a giant tower, and there was what was inside of it? It was like a mold almost. I don't know if I'm describing it right, but it was like kind of like a lava pit in a way. Just stuff like that was more memorable. Just finding it by myself and not really going temple to temple to temple. But the goal overall was to get 100 and what is it in this game? 151 shrines. It was a surprise once I hit 121, and it kept going. I don't think it's 151. It's like
Is it 153?
Something like that. But
yeah, so I still haven't got all the shrines yet. I'm very close, but I already got them all.
I mean, it is a spoiler chat, but do you care if I tell you like the 100% completion?
I don't care.
Because 100% completion in this game, in my opinion, at first was just as cool, maybe even cooler than Breath of the Wild. Although as I started to play with this certain 100% completion bonus, I started to look at him like, this is kind of janky. And what it was is it's the first hero of Hyrule, or at least in this version of Zelda, it's the first hero of Hyrule skin. And you're literally one of the little Zonai guys. Like, you look like Rauru in a way. Almost like James Cameron's Avatar, but as a Zonai character. Like, you have the tail. Because technically, I guess Rauru didn't really have a tail like that. If you look it up, it's like this big long tail and whatnot. But
yeah.
Anyways, it's super cool. I'm like, oh my god, this is such a cool like little 100% completion bonus. Because the first one was Link's typical tunic. Because you could only find actual tunics through amiibos in the first game. But through Breath of the Wild, you were able to get the Tunic of the Wild, which was more in tune with every other Zelda game, you know?
Yeah.
But with this one, when I got it, I was like, holy, this is kind of cool. Then I looked at his mouth. Then I looked at
Oh,
everything else, and nothing was moving. It's just static. So when Link eats and stuff, he had just an animation. He's like eating the apple or whatever. This dude was just static. I was like, oh, that's kind of lame, you know? He should have had
hmm.
like, I don't know, some sort of animation to make it look cooler. Um, but to counteract that, it's supposed to be like a cloak. When you get it, it's like this three-piece thing, and it's supposed to be like the cloak of the hero of Pyro, or whatever they call it. So I guess that's why they might have not animated it to be a little more lazy. I don't know. But I found that super, super, super cool when I found it.
Does it like grant you anything like extra power or
I didn't
just
100%. So that was one of the things I didn't 100% was the Koroks and the armor upgrades. I didn't get all the way. Once I got my Champion's Tunic all the way to 100%, I kind of started to want to beat the game. And at the time, I was like, all right, we have to do the spoiler chat at some time. And we did it like 5 months later. But regardless, I didn't get that far with that Tunic. I forget what it needed. It was like something stupid. It was just repetitive, finding the dragons, hitting the dragon at a different spot, getting the item that the dragon has, and upgrading the Zonai or whatever costume you needed to upgrade. It was very much like Breath of the Wild, where you had to collect and collect and collect and collect. Um, which
yeah, that's part of the that's part of the part I don't like about this game is because they took a lot of the bad stuff with Breath of the Wild or the tedious or the repetitive stuff and they put it back in this one like the Koroks. They made it even worse.
yeah.
They made the Koroks even worse. I didn't
Dude,
think
when
that was
I
possible.
when I saw that first Korok where he was just like, "Yo, I need my friend." He's on the side and he's like, "Help me, I need my friend." I was like, "Okay." I got your little break time screen. Let me skip that real quick. There we go, guys. When I first saw that, I was like, "Oh no, they've changed the Koroks a little bit." There's Koroks number 1, 2. That was like the first Korok I saw too. And then secondly, I was like, how the hell do I get from there to there? And it was only on the Sky Island, which was kind of foreshadowing on how bad they would get later on.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
they got increasingly worse, where the Korok would be on one side of the map, and his friend would be on like literally halfway across the map. Which honestly, I didn't mind later on because you start to learn how to construct different things. You learn how to build different mechanisms that can allow you to just rocket halfway across the map, anyways. Which I liked. There was some things that I didn't like about them, which we'll get into, but for the most part, I really like constructing things, making these giant airplanes to take our little shitty little Korok buddies and take them halfway across the map to get 2 Korok seeds. But I
Yeah,
didn't
that
mess
definitely made it
around.
better for sure.
I didn't mess around with them too much, and half of me, when I was playing it, if you were in the Discord at the time, I was like, hey, I'm going to collect all of them. I was like, yes, this is the time. I didn't do it for Breath of the Wild because Breath of the Wild was so, what do you call it? I heard about what the reward was for the Koroks. I was like, hell no. This one I actually still don't know, and you can tell me if you know.
Oh no,
Um,
I'm good. Yeah, I did it for Breath of the Wild, and I got that gold turd, and I was like, I'm not doing it for Tears of the Kingdom if they're in there. And when I seen they were in there, I was like, I'm not doing it.
do you know what the 100% reward is?
I actually don't.
So for chat, I will be looking at chat for this. Do you guys know what the 100% completion rate or reward is for the Koroks? It's the same thing Cuban Craft says. So
It's the same
that would
thing.
be so bad. You do it all over again. I think there's more Koroks this time. I think it's like one more. Something like it's just something stupid like it's one more or two more. It's the golden poop. That's so funny.
Yeah,
Um
it does say here 1,000 Korok seeds, and you get
yeah.
Hetsu's gift again, which is another gold dump.
Because what was I gonna say? Yeah, no, it's not worth it. It's definitely not
No,
worth it.
no, heck no.
Yeah, Hestu just pooped again. He's like, "Oh, I don't have anything else to give you again. Here, take my golden turd again."
Yeah, no, I'm good. I did that for the Breath of the Wild, and that was painful enough, and I'm not doing it again.
No, definitely not. God damn. I'm so glad I didn't do that then.
Yeah, that's
The other
painful.
thing I didn't do, and there were a ton of these dudes across the map, and you're gonna guess it right as I say it, but what's his name? Kelton has a brother in this game, or maybe it's the other way around. It's a different guy, and his brother's Kelton. Is it Kelton? the little demon guy, and he used to sell you masks and stuff of Lionels and bokoblins and whatnot. But in this game, his brother is looking for the Satori. So you're going around to every single cave looking for these bubble gem frogs, and like you shoot them once, and they shoot out a. What are the rabbits? They're Satoris, right? They're like little Satoris. Because I think the
I believe so.
Satoris are like the reindeer-looking big. Oh, what are they? Bloopies, right? I think it's bloopies. Something
Yeah,
stupid like
Bloopy.
that.
Yes, Bloopy sounds right.
Anyways, so you're going around to all these different caves, and in my mind, I was like, I have collected everything. I've gone through the entire map, and I've gotten everything, like 100%. Like, I haven't collected all the Koroks, but I've been to every cave. In my mind, I did. So when I finally got the last headpiece for this dude, and he goes, yeah, there's 120 more. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. Screw this. This is too much. Even though he tells you the direction of these stupid bubble gem frogs,
Yeah, he does.
120 on top of what I already got. That's insane. Honestly, I just said, you know what, I'm okay. I'm good.
Yeah, like going to this game, I thought I was gonna 100% it because I am really a completionist at heart. But I don't know. When this game came out, I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm 100% it. And then I started playing it, and I was like, dude, there's just way too many collectibles. It's just not. I just don't think the rewards are worth the time.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice that they give you so much to do, and it's not really it's not a barren world in some ways. It is a little bit more populated than Breath of the Wild, which was nice. You get a little bit more interaction with people. You have more side quests, I would say, in this game that are more people driven. Like my favorite side quest in particular, well, I guess one of them was the Clover Gazette one where you were following that bird around. I forget his name now, but what the reward was fantastic. You finally got a suit that allowed you to climb in the rain, the little frog suit. So that's
Yes,
kind of
that was
why
awesome.
I enjoyed that side quest so much, was the reward. Like the reward was so worth it. Finally, I could climb without getting pissed off and like sliding down and getting mad at myself because I can't climb something. Which
Yeah, because you don't have Rivali's Gale on this one, so you can't really. I mean, you
no.
have Ascend, but it's not really the same when you're trying to climb mountains that don't have anything underneath.
Yeah, but you also have, which I guess we can talk about this now, is the Ultra Hand. You have Ascend. You have oh my God, why am I blanking out? I literally wrote these down actually.
It's Rewind and
Rewind.
Auto
I didn't
Build.
even write that one down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have the auto build as well. But Ascend mechanically, just mechanically speaking, for a gameplay developer standpoint, is absolutely insane. Just the fact that you can ascend from, say, the chasm to the open world, like the Hyrule Field, to, let's just theoretically say, the Sky Island in seconds, without a would you call it, a loading screen, is absolutely mechanically insane that they were able to pull that off. Anywhere in the map you can ascend from a spot that you're able to ascend from up to Hyrule Field and beyond and whatnot. Which I think it's probably my favorite new mechanic. Like, you have Ultra Hand, and that's awesome. Like, finally it's got more of a significance over Magnesis. Magnesis was great, but this one, you could just pick up anything and you can move anything and you can
Yeah.
mold anything together, right?
I feel like
Um,
that's why this game took so long was because of Ascend, because I feel like there's probably a lot of glitches and bugs that came with
oh
that.
yeah.
So, I mean, that itself was really remarkable to see that for sure. But, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the loading screen part of it, because maybe the animation that it takes to get to the top might be the quote-unquote loading screen itself,
True.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, because sometimes it does take a bit of time. Say if you do something that's like from the depths to the Hyrule Field, you do get that for, I would
You
say, a
get
loading
lot
screen
longer.
time. Yeah.
You get a lot longer than like if you go up like a small cave or something.
Oh,
For
100%. Yeah. It's not like, and I'm sorry, we're going to talk about a different game for a very hot second. But say if I'm playing on my PS5 now, and I'm not trying to, boost the PS5 in any way, but to play Spider-Man on that now, and it just boots up, like there's no loading screen whatsoever. I guess, like, Nintendo needs to get to that point at some point, maybe in 2 generations from now, but Yeah, I guess it is a loading screen now that I think about it, because it does actually take quite a bit of time. They just mask it with the little
Yeah,
animation there.
they mask it with the animation, the sound effects of like him going up to the top. So I mean, it's really smart when you
Hmm.
think about it. Like that's a good way to intricate or intricate, if that's the right way to articulate it, a loading screen into the game because it doesn't feel like a loading screen.
Yeah. What was your favorite new ability, or what is your least favorite ability that Link gets in this game?
My favorite ability is probably Fuse, just because your weapons run out so easily, and just being able to fuse. I mean, you can fuse anything. Like it doesn't even matter. You can have two like long sticks and it goes into the ground. I find that hilarious. Like you can literally fuse anything, a minecart on your shield, and use it to ride on. Like I don't know. I think that was pretty cool, and that might be another reason why the game took so long to come out was because I'm sure there was problems and bugs and being able to fuse everything.
Yeah.
My least favorite is I don't know. I mean, they're all pretty good, but if I had to choose my least favorite, it'd probably be Ultra Hand, just because it feels like Minecraft in a sense.
Yeah.
It kind of seemed like they kind of ripped off that. Like, I get it, you're supposed to build stuff. That's why I love the auto build feature, because if you build something, you don't have to worry about it
Oh,
again.
late
So it
game, that
kind
was
of
beautiful.
downplays. It kind of yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it kind of downplays Ultra Hand in a sense.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Fuse was crazy, and the fact that you brought up, like that probably took a decent amount of time. Like think about it, they all have different properties too. Like say if you use a rocket on a shield, that gives you the power of flight. Like you're literally using the rocket ability on your shield. I don't know if that really makes sense that it took them more time, because everything kind of had a little bit of a different mechanic to it, right? So they probably had like lines and lines and lines of code just to make that happen, with every single item. I do
That's
miss
the
though. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's just another thing that's really impressive. Like, I mean, just kind of looking into it a little bit, seeing like what you've done and Bo's done, and what all goes into that. It's actually really impressive that everything they put together to make it so fluent. Like, there's a couple bugs, it's a little slow here and there, but all in
Hmm.
all, it's actually pretty fluent.
Like I don't think at this point in my life, I don't think I could ever make a game like this. Like it's insane the amount of things that they've done, and especially when I first started my course, and it was like they're saying, oh, review, watch or play video games, see which ones click with you, see the mechanics they put into this. And funny enough, this game came out right as I started school, so this is what I was playing. I'm playing it, I'm going, there's no way in hell I can make something like this. There's way too many mechanics, the amount of like things to do in the game. Like I just want to see the code for it. I just want to see how many scripts they have, how many lines of code in each script is like there. Just watch that, like you read a script and it's only like 3 lines of code, because half the time things can happen pretty easily. But no, I would love to see something like that. But I was gonna say I do miss Stasis and I do miss Cryonis. Maybe more Stasis in a way, because that was amazing. You walk up to a Guardian and you just like stasis him once you got the upgraded Stasis, and it made the game so much more easier. So much, in my mind, was fun, because I don't like a challenge half the time. Half the time I just want to stasis the guy and kill him. I don't need to be like dodging around and fearing for my life, you know. But
Yeah, that's true.
I do miss this stasis, but for the most part, I think they made improvements on every single ability. Kind of more so, they're not really upgrades, but some of them are in a way, like Ultra Hand and Fuse and whatnot. But yeah, overall, I do like the move set more in this game than Breath of the Wild. I don't know
So
about you.
do you like the bomb flower over having a bomb at all times?
No,
I
that
I hated that too. I wish we had a
that
bomb at all times.
I'm bad too, because I would collect so many, but I would use them a lot for different aspects of the game, and I would always run out arrows and bombs. That was like the one thing I was always out of, always gathering them and always just running out, coming back to it, running out, coming back. So yeah, I do miss that. But I also like that they're there, because then it's more of a traditional Zelda game. You actually have
It
some bomb
is, yeah,
flowers.
it is. I did like how they did bring it back, but I agree. I was running out of them all the times. I'd use them for like blowing up rocks in caves. I use them for Lionels. I'd use them like constantly, and I'd always run out. Like
Yeah.
it would be hard to find like a spot that has a plethora of them.
And speaking of Lionels and the enemies in this game, there are like some crazy, crazy ass enemies in this game. Um,
Yes.
Even the Bokoblins have an upgrade. Everything has an upgrade. Like you'll fight your regular Bokoblin, but you also have the armored Bokoblin. That goes for the Lionels. That goes for like literally any enemy in this game. For the most part, they have an armored version. And at the beginning, I had no clue what to do. I was running around going, how the hell do I kill this guy? And I mean, my brain probably didn't process it fast enough, but it was just a simple rock to the face and he broke open. But
Yeah.
it was nice to see something new and something to challenge your brain to see how it would work, you know?
I agree. I just hated on the Lionels because my God, dude. I don't know if did you do the Lionel Coliseum?
Oh yes, sir.
I hated that. I hated
I
it.
I was stupid. I think I did most of it and I died a bunch, but I
Oh, I
saved
did
it
a
at one
bunch.
point. I saved it at one point where I was literally halfway through the the Coliseum, and then I go back to it and I'm in this like weird spot where I'd get hit once and I would die. So um I was there for a couple hours just fighting this one Lionel. I literally had to perfect dodge him each time. Um, but yeah, they started to pull out like these armored Lionels, and these Colosseums are nuts. Like that one in particular, and I think there was one more. Maybe the Horoblins. They were a little hard.
Yeah, there was another one too.
Because like the Bokoblin one was pretty easy. There was a Lizalfos one. Pretty much all the main little enemies. And then there was one with the Hinox, which I'm so glad I found. So you walk into this Coliseum, for people that don't know. Um, Here's a send if you didn't see a send before, but hey, you're on a spoiler chat. You walk into the Hinox Coliseum, you fight him, you kill him, and you get the Korok mask. I was like, hell yeah! I was looking for that for like forever. I know we were talking about how we weren't gonna collect all the Koroks, but at the time, I was, and I was like, hey, I need the Korok mask to make this a little bit easier, right?
Yeah.
But what was, I guess, your favorite enemy in this game? New, old, and what was your least favorite? I think I know your least favorite because it's probably mine. But what is your, favorite and least favorite out of the bunch?
So I'll start with my most hyped. I was actually the most hyped for the Gleox, but I was rather disappointed with the fights when I first came across one.
Yeah.
But I was really hyped that they brought that back from like the original Legend of Zelda. Like I was like, that's really awesome. And then it was kind of a letdown for me. My
Okay.
favorite fight, I mean, it's kind of, I guess, cliche in a way because it's the final boss. But I mean, it was Ganon. I mean, the final, which I don't want to talk about it right now, but just the
Yeah.
final phase of that fight was absolutely insane.
I loved
I hate to say
watching
that I
that.
called it, but I mean, it was wild. It was
Yeah.
really good.
Well, you did call it.
Uh,
You texted me that. I was like,
yeah.
oh, that would be nuts. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I called it. Like it was kind of like right there in my face, but at the same time, it was still really epic to see,
Hmm.
and I just thought that was awesome. As far as my least favorite, it's Lionels. They're so hard. Like I don't know if
Yeah.
I just suck, but they're hard.
Lionel's in this game because in Breath of the Wild, I got pretty good with the whole Flurry Rush, and then the strat for the Lionel was, I think it was the Flurry Rush, and then mount them, and then maybe fly
Yeah,
onto
mount them
them
and hit them.
and
Yeah,
hit them. This time, no, like they got the armor on, they got some other weapons with them. I was like, oh god, they have increasingly gotten worse. But honestly, I think my least favorite was Gleok because of how hard they were. Like at the beginning, you're playing this game and they're just wrecking you like in 2 shots with like full health. And maybe that's because I'm a garbage gamer. But to figure out that you get the little Aracuda eyes and you just shoot them right at the Gleok and they go down pretty easily, was nice. But then again, you fight like the King Gleok and you fight other Gleoks and you're just like, I can't do this. I'm wasting so many arrows, wasting so many resources like the
yeah,
eyeballs just to kill one Gleok for maybe an armor
exactly.
upgrade. And I did kill one King Gleok, but I didn't have fun. I thought that's where the Hylian shield was, and that's where I told you to go, and I think you're going there right now in the stream, maybe. Anyways,
Yeah, it might be where
um,
I get close to killing it and then I die.
I literally, I
Spoiler,
literally,
spoiler.
I literally was like, oh, go here, because I literally thought the stupid Hylian shield was there. I was looking all over for it, and it was, what was it? Oh, it was in something really, really simple. And thanks to Fox for that, because he gave me a little tip, and it made it better. Anyways, what was I saying though? Yeah, I guess the Gleeok was the worst. Favorite fight, definitely Ganon, I would say, even though we didn't get our little zombified Ganon, but.
Yeah, I would say we complained a little bit earlier on, but I mean, like I said, it's probably cliche, but it's got to be Ganon. I mean, just from everything that you fight in the game, like all the temple bosses, like they just don't compete with Ganon's 3 phases.
I'm getting a little bit of echo here. We'll fix that as I go here. But what was I saying? Yeah, I loved how cinematic it was at times. I'm gonna move my mic back a little bit, but the final fight is what I was trying to say, is that it's very cinematic, and it's very it's, I don't know, it's more cinematic than Breath of the Wild. You fight something that's different, kind of the same. I'm not gonna get into it right now, but I definitely loved the Ganon fight overall. But let's talk about the temples. I think we kind of skimmed over a little bit, but this time we actually got temples. We got a kind of a traditional temple. They really didn't go for an overall traditional temple,
Yeah, I was hoping for a traditional temple. Like when I seen my first one I went to was the Wind Temple, I was like, oh my god, they're calling it a temple. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And as I kind of like go into it, I'm like, this doesn't feel like a temple. They're calling it a temple, but it doesn't feel like a temple.
Yeah, I went into the Gerudo one first, and that was cool. I was like, okay, we got a traditional temple, and I think that's the hardest one from what I'm told. Well, I mean, not from what I'm told. I've played all of them. But at the beginning, I was playing the Gerudo one, and you were like, oh, this is probably, like, the best one. So I literally did that off the bat, instead of, maybe doing the other ones first.
Yeah, that one was my favorite one, was definitely the Gerudo Desert one. By far, I just think just from the difficulty of the boss versus just the aesthetics versus the puzzles, everything, I think that was the best one, in my opinion. Because the other 3 bosses that you fight for the temples, I didn't get hit one single time. There was no difficulty for me on those.
Oh yeah, especially Cubingcraft actually said in the chat, Colgera, stupid, absolutely stupid. I killed that in like 2 hits. Didn't even get hit once on that. That was a very overrated boss. It came out, it was scary as hell, and then you kill it in 2 shots,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I guess so Queen Gibdo was probably the hardest. I killed Queen Gibdo. I kind of went in a clockwise order. I did the Rito one next. Then I think I skipped over to Zora and then the Gorons, but the Rito one was Colgera, very underwhelming. We had the Zora one, which was the stupid Splatoon monster. I know you haven't really played Splatoon, but literally in Splatoon 3, one of the mascots actually rides on a shark and comes at you on a shark.
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
So, it just gave me Splatoon vibes, and I was like, okay, whatever. It's a cool boss, but it's also hard,
Yeah, I can see that's what I kind of feel with this game. I feel like they took a lot of ideas from their other IPs, like their main IPs, so they kind of threw it in this one too.
Yeah.
That's another reason I'm kind of like, it doesn't feel original, but it kind of is original in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely threw their own. That one was actually kind of annoying. It wasn't hard, but he kept running away from you, and he's shooting out the ink at you, which is slowing you down. But you're trying to run after him, and I guess did Yunobo make it easier? I don't think he did. You could roll him, but he didn't actually clear up any of the ink. It was more King Sidon.
It was.
Which I think his is actually the most useless one in this game. I mean, you got a little bit of a shield for a second, but the minute you attack,
it's gone.
Your bubble's gone, which is
as it uses that as an attack. I would prefer to have that as a defense and keep it that way. And you only have it for so long. After a little while, it just disintegrates.
Yeah. So
I do feel like his is definitely the worst one of them all.
Yeah, because Yunobo's actually pretty good. I like Yunobo's. He came in clutch for some things. He would knock over enemies and whatnot. And actually work with the actual environment around him with the rocks and the just destroying stuff in his way. You had what was what's the Rito's name again?
It's Toolin.
Tulin. His was alright. Again, not Rivali's Gale by any means, but
No.
it was alright. You know, it was alright. And
I
then
liked his just because you could travel quick. Like every time I'd go through the sky and down, try to go somewhere, like I'd constantly use that gust. But that's about all I used it for.
yeah, and then you had the Gerudo one, which was good at the beginning, but let me tell you, by the end, was my least favorite, only because she would run away from you. You're trying to kill that horde of whatever's coming at you, and she's
Yes.
running away. You're trying to get her. You click on her, and that goes for any of these guys. You run, you click on her, and then it's like, you die because enemies coming at you as you're trying to avoid. Uh, avoid the
Yeah, I
enemies.
feel like that was kind of a mistake because like they run away, which I get they're supposed to help you fight, but it's a pain to use their abilities while not getting hit and still trying to effectively attack.
Mhm.
It's just really, really difficult at times.
It got stupid by the end, and not to go fully into the end, but that final horde fight wasn't
Yes.
so much hard in a way, but it was just hard to get to your teammates because they're trying to fight someone. You were trying to run up to them. They run away. Then you're trying to get to another guy. They're overlapped on a different ally. Then you click on the
Yeah,
wrong ally, and it's like it's a pain in the
I did that
ass.
several times. I tried to use the Gerudo and I kept getting side on, and I was like, bro, I need the electricity to fight these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really annoying.
Let me try something. Sorry, we're gonna break the this, what do you call it? Fourth wall break here. How's the audio right now? I just fixed a little bit. Let me know. I think I fixed it at least, but let me know. We're gonna keep going here, but yeah. So that is our champions this time around. I actually thought it was such a cool reveal in a way. Um, the audio is good now. All right, all right, all right. Let's go. All right, back to it. So what was I saying? The champion reveal of getting what's her name? What's the Gerudo girl's name? It's been a
It's
couple months.
I feel like it's Urbosa, but that's the one for Breath of the Wild, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's her Bosa. It's like, oh my god, I
I
forget
don't
her
remember her name,
name.
bro.
Someone's gonna tell us in the chat, but Riju, the sage. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay,
The
yeah,
minute
that
she
sounds right.
popped out, and technically it shouldn't have been so much of a surprise because in Breath of the Wild you had Rivali come out and he would spin around you and you'd shoot up into the air. So technically you had the same kind of animation. But when you
Yeah,
came out of that temple and Riju's just like next to you, I was like, holy shit, she's actually like following me the whole time. I found that pretty cool. In regards to Breath of the Wild. But again, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you get to that point where there's too many of them, which maybe in a way they could have made a button mapping system where Riju was on one button, like the analog stick, which wouldn't work because everything's mapped out already. But
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean, I
know.
don't know. I feel like there's a way for it. I mean, you could actually go to the settings and toggle off, three and keep one on. That way you're not doing that. But then again, it's not effective when you can have all four helping you fight.
True that.
So it's kind of like yeah, there's a way around it, but it's a sucky option.
Yeah. Uh, what's next here? I mean, we talked a little bit about the story, but overall, what was your favorite part of the story? Your least favorite part of the story? I say we deep dive into everything now, lore, story wise, and the connection between this game to Breath of the Wild in particular, and the timeline itself.
I think my favorite part, because it was actually something I wasn't necessarily expecting, was Zelda swallowing the tear to become a dragon. I was
Absolutely
like,
bonkers, bro.
whoa. I was not expecting that at all. Like, I mean, they kind of hinted at it with Raru, I believe, and Sonya talking about it.
Hmm.
Like, oh, yeah, you swallow the tear, become a dragon. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, but if you do that, you can't, it's not reversible. So you're thinking, okay, that's just out of the question. And here we are. Zelda pops that tear in her mouth, swallows that thing, and you're like, "What the f is going on?"
I mean,
Uh,
I didn't notice it. I don't know if you noticed it, but me, I go around, I watch all these spoiler videos, I watch these podcasts like we're doing right now. But what people were saying, and I went back and I watched it. Zelda's in the very first shot when Link is skydiving. I don't know if you saw that, but she's literally hovering around the Sky Island as like you don't know it's Zelda, but she's literally just there. She shoots up through the clouds when you're doing your little skydive thing, and Tears of the Kingdom's popped up. And then throughout your Sky Island adventure, she's literally just in one circle because you can't reach her anyways, but she's
Yeah.
there. Um, which I found like
No.
bonkers. I was like, no way. They hinted at it from the very, very, very beginning, you know?
And I never noticed that. I never noticed that. I didn't even know that till you said it.
Wow. Yeah,
So that's really
even
cool.
I mean, even from the beginning, you go through the chasm, like the very first, cinematic shot, you're going down through Hyrule's basement, and you see the rock mural on the wall, and it's like, oh, this is gonna happen. The Demon King's gonna come, and then obviously they have to block out the one part because it's a spoiler in a way.
Yeah.
Of Zelda becoming the dragon and fighting Ganondorf um, as a dragon. But sorry, continue. I cut you off there.
No, no, you're good. I mean, as far as like my least favorite part of the story, I can't really touch on a part that I didn't like. I thought the story was great. I really did thoroughly enjoy the story. My only complaints really is just part of the gameplay and the collectibles and the amount of stuff to do.
Mhm.
Like it's just too much. But as far as story goes, I thought the story was great. Just
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really good. Maybe the only thing I could say is a complaint, I suppose, is Zelda does go back to her original form
Hmm.
when they do say that it's non-reversible. But even so, I still think it's still a really good story.
I would have actually enjoyed if they kept her as a dragon. One, because of the story, and it's like, oh, you become an immortal dragon. You can't reverse that, right?
Yeah,
And all they did to reverse it was three ghosty hands in you, or two ghosty hands in you, just like do something, and she melts away and becomes Zelda again. I found that
yeah,
kind of silly
that's
in a way.
I did. Yeah, that's like I said. That's really the only thing story-wise I can really touch upon that was kind of like really like that's what you're doing. It's almost like an anime, like oh the power of friendship, and it's like, bro, come on, you guys should have thought of something better than that.
Yeah, after all that time, and you just revert her back, and it kind of gets me guessing how the whole timeline works in a way because so Zelda goes all the way back. She meets Rauru, she meets Sonia, becomes the dragon at the end of the imprisoning war. But I guess they didn't really think about it at the beginning of Breath of the Wild or at the end of Breath of the Wild because she's never around. Like, she's never a dragon during Breath of the Wild, which
No,
technically she should be. Like, not that Zelda, but the other Zelda. Should be in the
right,
sky
right.
just flying around, right? Stuff like that and the lack of like guardians. I know the guardians are dead and whatnot, but like there's one on top of Robbie's research lab. But you think they would have, I don't know, more connective tissue between Breath of the Wild to Tears, where I was texting you about it, I was texting a couple people about it, where it was like, there's no divine beasts. Like where'd they go? Like
You say yeah,
they don't
they
even
don't even
talk
talk
about them.
about them. Yeah, they don't say
At
nothing.
least
Like
if they were
what
like,
happened to
oh, we
those?
repurposed them for these towers, we repurposed, I don't know, the divine beast to make this city. All right, great, you told us. They don't say anything. Like the guardians, at
No.
least they are part of the tower now. You get the guardian legs coming up and grabbing your Sheikah Slate and whatnot and messing around with it. But yeah, the guardians are like literally no mention. There,
Yeah.
Craft is saying there's one mention. Let me know, but I couldn't find one, and kind of weird in a way, you know?
Like you again, you like you said, you'd think there would be more connection because the games are so. It's obviously a sequel to Breath of the Wild. It happens after Breath of the Wild,
Yeah.
and there's so much in correlation with Breath of the Wild. You think they would have touched upon it at least a little bit, but they don't.
The one thing I kind of give it like slack for, I guess, not slack. What it was called? Like I give it a little less slack. That's not what I was supposed to say, but is it's been what like 7 years since Breath of the Wild. It's been a decent amount of time. Like years have passed, so
Yeah.
I kind of give them credit on that. Like maybe they did something and they're just not explaining it. But yeah, it's been 7 years. Like what do you want the game to do, right? Like have them on the mountain, taking up space. But it would have been cool if you went down the chasm, like they actually fell through and they were just down there, you know?
Yeah.
They said they call it Va Meadows Purge. Well, you do get a couple slight references on the temples, especially the water and the wind temple. I noticed they actually have the divine beast etched in stone and whatnot, and they probably have it for every single temple. But that was my only like reference in a way, was just their stone head was there. Plus, what did you have to do to get it? Oh, you go back. So after you beat the game and whatnot, or no, after you beat all the temples and whatnot, you go back and you get a little quest from each of the 4 people. So you go back and they give you a quest and you get the mask. You get the elephant mask, you get the camel mask. You can also get it through Amiibo, but you can actually get it through the game itself. So that's, I guess, a reference. But that's more a reference to the imprisoning war and the ancestors that wore those masks more than anything.
Yeah. I kind of want to know what happened to them. Where they gone?
Yeah.
Did they? I mean, did just like what happened? That's what I
Oh,
want.
like the ancient ancestors. The oh, are you oh sorry, you're talking about the divine beast still.
Yeah, still the divine
Yeah.
beast, but yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
would have
like I
liked
mean,
that.
I'm saying they make references, but just what happened?
Not
I mean,
enough. Not
I feel
enough.
like it could have been like so simple to say too, like, and they just disregard it.
Yeah. It has the guardians, Kakariko in an ancient painting, and yes, in Mifa's court. Okay, okay. I'll go back and look at that then, but they should have done more, right? Should have been in the story.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been obvious. Like, it not. I guess I just didn't dive deep enough.
Yeah.
But I feel like it should have been obviously told instead of trying to dig and search for it. I guess if that makes sense.
Hmm. Like the one cool thing was going into the Hyrule like town that's all damaged and stuff, and you see a little grave with a flower on it. It's like, oh, everybody, like, memoriam for everybody that had fallen in the calamity and whatnot. That was a nice reference, and I was like, oh, great, they
Yes.
actually referenced the calamity, and someone else talks about the calamity, like one of the NPCs and whatnot. Um, but yeah, there's not a lot of connective tissue, is what I'm trying to say, between Breath of the Wild and Tears, which is weird because this is like the first Zelda game that is truly a sequel. Like we do have a couple Zelda games, like Zelda 1 to 2. We have the Oracle games and whatnot, but
And then there's Ocarina of Time, the Majora's Mask, because that takes
true.
3 days after. But I feel like that game was not to get off Tears of the Kingdom, but that game was majorly rushed, trying to
Yeah. That was made
succeed
in
with
like a year,
Ocarina of
no?
Time. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was very very short time.
At least they took their time with this one, but
Yeah. Oh yeah, they definitely took their time.
um but yeah, no, like there was no real sequel status for this game in certain regards. There were, but certain things was just like, oh, now Ganon's a demon king. Oh, he was down there the whole time. Great, now go fight him. Uh, which I guess you could say that Calamity Ganon was like partial his power, and then now he's got his full power. Like he's slowly gaining power. So now he can have his physical form, and you go down there and you screw with him, and then he wakes up, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's, reference enough. But that stuff as well was just like, oh, you have Ganondorf. There was no mention of him in Breath of the Wild, which they probably didn't think of it during Breath of the Wild. Um, but it would have been nice, if you played Breath of the Wild, they're like, oh, there was Ganondorf. He's dead now. This is the Calamity, you know? Like, we
Yeah.
obviously know of
Yeah.
Ganondorf, because you clearly do in this game. It would have been. This is more a gripe on, I guess, Breath of the Wild than Tears, in particular. Um, I guess we can go into, well. So Zelda becomes a dragon. Very
Yes.
crazy, dark scene that I wasn't expecting, and that's probably what I was saying at the beginning. The saddest part of Tears of the Kingdom is that Zelda has sacrificed herself like crazy in this timeline, to the point where she
Yes.
had to wait 100 years for Link to wake up. The whole Breath of the Wild story takes place. Then you have this game, and she has to go back like thousands of years, and then wait around for like another thousands of. Well, she doesn't have to wait to go back in time, but she has to wait thousands of years for this event to happen, for her to help
Right.
out, right? To bring the
Because
Master Sword back to Link.
yes, and that's got to be pretty painful
Hmm.
to wait that long.
Yeah. Which that was another thing. Like I did again with the exploration and stuff. I start to get more and more collectibles. I start to get more and more armor sets, and the Master Sword just fell into my hands. I don't even think I completed the memories before I got the Master Sword, and that's a big moment because you get the cutscene of Zelda. Um, is that the one where she turns into the dragon? I don't think so. I think it's the like the secret
Yeah, it's the
story.
secret. Yeah, I think pretty sure you have to get all the tiers to unlock the 13th one, and I think
Yeah.
it's the secret one.
But there is
But
some sort of cutscene when you grab the sword, and it kind of basically hints that she's a dragon now. Um, I think it's been a couple months, so forgive me, but
yeah, I was it's been a little bit for me too. 'Cause I did also get the Master Sword before getting all of the memories as
hmm
well.
which that was crazy. I don't know why I did it, but I think I was up at like 1 or 2 a.m. Just fighting and fighting and fighting this Phantom Ganon that I was just like, what the hell? Like, like he was absolutely insane to fight at the time, and then you defeat him, and the Deku Tree's like, yo, there's a ping, the Master Sword's around, and you're like, oh my god, this is the quest for the Master Sword the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, so then you fly. Well, it was so easy for me. I just jumped the tower. I already had so much stamina this time, and not like Breath of the Wild where you needed hearts. It's the opposite. This time you had stamina.
Yep, you did have stamina.
So that was nice. So I just pulled the Master Sword. I was like, great, I've beaten one temple and I have the Master Sword, which is kind of the opposite effect where you have this open world game, and in open world games, you do whatever you want, and you get the Master Sword like 25% of the way through the game instead of
Yeah.
beating temples like in generic Zelda games, and then you get the Master Sword like halfway through the game as an OP weapon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got the story out of the way, kind of. We get through the whole Zelda part. She's a dragon now. She sacrifices herself, kind of. Um, and we get to Ganon. We finally get to Ganon. Let's talk about it. Let's go through the whole Ganon fight, the finale. We'll open the questions up to the viewers because I know they're dying to talk to us. And yeah, we'll just kind of wrap it up there. But what was your thoughts on the final fight? I know I kind of already got your thoughts on it because I actually watched this live stream. But what are your thoughts? How'd you like it? And what was the most like memorable part?
I think it was great. I hated the second phase though,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever phase it was, where I kept dying. I mean, and the thing is, it wasn't even that hard. It was just really annoying. I think I died like 8 times, maybe more. But it was just the constant having to be so accurate with the flurry rush was just a little annoying. And then the second phase or third phase, it didn't take long to figure out, but it just took forever to kill him. Which I get it, his life was like stupidly long.
That was a funny moment. I'm not gonna lie to you. Just seeing his health bar keep going and going. I
I
don't.
know you're like, it's gonna stop.
I think the first time you fought him too. I don't know if you realized what was going on, and you died, and then you came back, and you're like, "Is his health like twice the size?" Yeah, it was. I was laughing so hard. But yeah, that fight was absolutely amazing. In my playthrough, I was already OP as shit. Like I did everything. I collected everything. I had every single heart. I was told to get all the sunflowers and whatnot, and get some gloom resistance going. So I went in pretty, I would say OP. I still had some trouble. Like I almost died to him, but it was somewhat of an easy fight for me because I was so like end game. I had every single heart, every stamina, every pretty much um, weapon that I would want to fight him with.
Yeah,
But
I didn't have all that.
yeah. But that second phase was kind of crazy to learn because you would have to like, it's kind of like Ocarina of Time where he throws his little lightning ball at you or his magic at you, and then you have to tennis it back to him, which is
Yeah,
kind of like this game where you would flurry rush, then he'd go, all right, now I'm gonna flurry rush, then you have to flurry rush again.
yeah, yeah.
So it was kind of like a back and forth, and it was somewhat annoying. But I don't know what I did, but I just kind of cheesed it a bit. Um, but that was annoying, 100%. You fight him, you get that big long health bar, and you fight his final form. He's Demon King Ganon, That was a little annoying because, I mean, your friends are there to help fight the little phantom Ganons that are running around and actual phantom Ganondorfs.
Yeah, that was annoying to get hit by those. You had to run away from them.
Yeah, it's like, well, he's attacking you, but 5 other guys are attacking you, which now that I'm playing Elden Ring right now, it's like baby's first Elden Ring in a way, because you do have fights like that where you're trying to kill one dude, but there's like 5 other dudes chasing you around. Um, but yeah, you get to that point and you finally kill him, and guess what happens? He becomes a freaking dragon, bro. He eats
Yeah,
the stone, I don't know, he turns into this demon dragon. At first,
yeah,
I thought it looked like Clam Ganon in a way. The way he came out of the castle and it was like all, he's got the dark mist around him. I was like, oh shit, like is that the connective tissue? Is that Calamity Ganon? No, obviously it's a dragon. But that fight was crazy, so
yeah.
cinematic, so fun, um, pretty easy. Like demon, what was the other one? Beast Demon Ganon or Demon Beast Ganon.
Yeah, I
Maybe
don't
it's
remember
Beast
exactly
Ganon,
the
something
name,
like
but
that.
yeah, the dragon was more so like story and schematic, because or some like scenery, because the boss fight itself was rather easy, but I did like the build up. Like, no, you're not gonna beat me, and just like this, he's not gonna accept defeat. Swallows a tear, becomes a dragon, and just doesn't care.
Yeah. Sorry, give me a second here. Um, yeah, that fight was absolutely fantastic. I like this game more because I love Zelda, but I don't get their fascination with eyes half the time, where things have to have like 7 different eyes on one part of the body, and it kind of grosses me out quite a bit. But this game was fantastic. Nothing was like that. You had the gloom hands, which actually we glossed over. We talked about Phantom Ganon, but not the stupid gloom hands. Um, but so you fight this dragon, he's got all these eyes on him. I was like, bro, this is disgusting. Why does this dragon have like eyes on him? Only so that you could hit him in certain spots and kill him. But yeah,
Yeah,
that was thankfully the only um, the only time where we had like multiple eyes.
yeah. There wasn't a spider in this game, was there?
Sadly not. Sadly not. I
Yeah.
was I was so sad about that, honestly. Um, but hey, maybe we'll play Twilight at some point. Like I've heard that game's pretty good, you know.
It's really good. It's my second favorite Zelda game.
So I guess what would you rank your Zeldas now? Like you don't have to go through every single one, but where would you put like Tears of the Kingdom, I guess, in between every
So
single one?
I put Breath of the Wild in S tier because of how, it changed the game for Zelda. First open world, it was absolutely nuts.
Hmm.
Now, with that said, you would think I would put Tears in S tier. I'm not.
Ooh.
I actually put this in B tier just because it is almost exactly the same game, just extra stuff to it,
Hmm.
and there's way more collectibles, and it just seems kind of blah. The story is really good. The story almost makes it A tier for me, but it's just sitting right there solidly in B tier.
I I do like collectible hunting. This one had a little too much. Like my favorite thing is to just go around and collect new armor sets. Like that was my favorite to do. And it was so nice at this time. The amiibo armor was just around the world. Like um, you didn't actually have to plop your amiibo on. Oh my God, you have Ocarina of Time Link. Like you didn't have to have a paywall this time, which was
Yeah,
fantastic. And just stuff like that, like actual useful items I love collecting, but yeah, the Koroks, the bubble frogs, the what else? Just the armor sets in general where they had the
yeah.
upgrades, not the armor sets themselves, but the
The
upgrades.
upgrades, and it's just like for Breath of the Wild, that was great. It was something new, a lot of collectibles. I totally get it, but to redo the exact same thing, almost the exact same formula,
Hmm.
it's just not like, nah, man. Like you got to at least change something, make it different, do new collectibles. I mean, something. I don't know.
Yeah, I love this game. Like I it doesn't take much for a game to be like really good for me, and maybe that's just me fanboying out quite a bit. This game was very large, took way too much time, and again I'm going through school, so it was kind of like I don't really have time to be doing all this. Like this is a lot to do for
Oh
someone
yeah.
that's like you got a family, you got all this stuff going on. You're like, but I need to collect this, and this tonight. Like I would literally spend a night going, all right, I'm gonna go. to whatever, the temple. Then I'd find myself collecting Poes, going to the Brethren dudes, like what you're doing right now. Or I'd go around and find light roots, which the light root 100% was like not even worth it, to be honest with you. Like it kind of goes like the shrines were fantastic. You beat the shrines, you get the little first hero of Hyrule thing. Then you got the light roots. You get this little medallion for collecting all the light roots. And then you have the Koroks, I guess, and they're like, "Oh, here's a piece of shit. Thank you very much for collecting our brethren." So yeah, if they ever make Breath of the Wild 3, which I don't think they will, I hope they try something new after this, which we'll get into. We'll talk about what we want to see next, but I hope they don't bring back Korok hunting. Like, please, just chill.
Please.
Maybe if there was like 10 Koroks, beautiful. I love the game. Like, make them hard to find, really hard.
Yes,
but
make
just
them
10
hard.
of them.
Just
Maybe
only
100.
10.
Do 100.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Even 100's fine.
Like even with Mario Odyssey, like I never collected 999 moons, but that game itself was a little bit more fun to collect the moons. Like there was an actual like levels and things to do to get the moons. Whereas this game is just like
I agree.
Walk around. All right, I see. Well, I'm walking towards the temple, right? And then all of a sudden I hear, like, help me! And then you look around, you're like, oh god, it's another one of these stupid Korok dudes.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's my one big complaint. Is just how big it was. But I loved how big it was because it was like, oh my god, this is so crazy. Like we have 3 different maps. We have the Sky Islands, we got the Chasm, we got the Hyrule Field.
Yes.
But
I loved it at first, and then as I started playing it more and more, I was like, is this ever going to end?
Yeah.
That's how it kind of became.
Every night I would find something new. Like I kept saying that in the Discord, I think. And I was just like, every night I'd find something. Like one night I found the Bubble Gen frogs. Then I found, let's just say, another collectible, the Sage Wills. We haven't even talked about the Sage Wills. I would find a Sage Will, and you'd be like, okay, how many of these are there? Like, I didn't even collect all of them, because I went through every single Sky Island, and that's where they're supposed to be. I believe they're all supposed to be on the Sky Islands.
I believe so. That's where I found my 2 that I have.
Like, I didn't collect them all. I almost collected them all. I think I had like 8 left, so you needed 4 to upgrade a Sage, which you're in the spoiler chat, but to upgrade a Sage, you need 4 of these Sage Wills. And I don't know how much of an upgrade it was. It was kind of like Breath of the Wild, where you get Rivali's Gale Plus, you get, Mipha's Grace Plus. So it wasn't really worth it. Also, there's a Korok around here, by the way, I couldn't find. That pissed me off quite a bit. But I kept hearing the jingle in the mask.
Yeah, the jingle, yeah.
But what was I talking about? I went off on a tangent about the friggin' Korok there, but
the Sage Wills.
Yeah, the Sage Will. Like, it was cool at first, and then it's just like, okay, you're starting to find all these different collectibles every night. And it just gets to a point where it's like, oh my god, there is so many things to do, which is fantastic.
Exactly.
You do get your money's worth out of it. I will say that. If you're coming in here and you're
yeah,
I haven't bought it yet, and you're just chilling, I would buy it. Honestly, I would. Like, it's one of the better Zelda games. It's not like my favorite Zelda game, I wouldn't say, but it is up there. It's not as good as Phantom Hourglass, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it is good. Everybody tunes out now. I'm just joking, okay?
Yeah, I remember whenever I actually complained hard, like very, very hard about the $70 price tag, but now that I play the game, I don't complain about that. I think there's so much content that it's definitely worth the $70.
It is so worth it. Just so many things to do, and like we never really talked. We're gonna miss quite a bit. Like I don't want to like keep going and going till like 1 a.m. But we could if you want. Hey, I'm down. We'll see what the chat wants to do. But yeah, you have the Gloom Hands, which were, honest to God, the scariest thing in this game. I was just walking through Hyrule Field one day, and they just came out and they scream, right? They do that little scream thing. Yeah. And they start coming at you, and they're faster than you. Like, there's no outrunning those guys, 100%. Like, maybe I was just being dumb, but I could not outrun them. They'd come at me, and that was game over. I would have to fight them. And then you kill them, and I didn't actually realize they turned into Phantom Ganon halfway through. Like, you fight the one in the Deku tree, and then he turns into Phantom Ganon, right? So that's where I realized, I'm like, oh, that's where Phantom Ganon is across the map. Is these gloom hands? Like every single one turns into a, or does every single one? I think most of them do.
I think majority.
Yeah, I think there's a couple that don't. But yeah, getting down there and finally like killing the gloom hands was fantastic because they're annoying, man. You would hit them once and they would be way too quick and reactive. Like you'd have like 5 or 6 of them, which I think counteracting them again is with arrows. But at the beginning, I was just trying to hit them with my sword and trying to kill them with the sword.
Yeah, that's what I was doing too.
So they were fun. horrible creature to kill. But that and the Sky Islands were great, and I love the aspect of flying out into the sky. Like to get to certain things like the mazes, which I actually want to get into, were a pain at first at the beginning of the game because you just start out, you're trying to learn how to build everything, and basically I was trying to build something to get up to the Gerudo maze. I couldn't do it. I was just like, I would fly so high, and then the mechanism itself would just explode. Like it only goes for so long, and then it just disappears.
Yeah, it goes. Yeah,
was probably my biggest complaint with the mechanics. But then again, if they never exploded, you'd be going around the entire map and just collecting everything one shot.
Yeah, that's true too. Like you could use the airplane and literally coast the entire thing.
Yeah, I could just fly right through the Dragon Roost Island or whatever they called it, Lightning Dragon Island, and collect my mask. But yeah, like the mechanics, I loved building stuff, especially towards the end of the game. I was building like planes, and I was building little balloons with the rockets on them and shooting myself up halfway across the map. But certain things were just so high up, and at a point I was just like how do I get up here? Like to fully get up here and not have my plane explode or my balloon explode was a nice challenge in a way, but it did get kind of annoying at some points,
For sure.
What would be, I guess, your favorite mechanism, like your favorite vehicle in this game, if you had to pick one?
I think my favorite one is it is this thing that I made because it was funny. I made like a two-wheeler, one in the front left, one in the front right of like a rectangle or square sheet of metal, and I was just using that and like hitting people with it. And I thought that was hilarious. It only had 2 wheels and it was rolling.
I'm not a very creative person when it comes to that kind of stuff, so like I was looking online afterwards and seeing some pretty suggestible builds that people were doing, and found that kind of funny. But I was just doing like the typical like airplane with 2 fans on the side, or balloon with like 4 rockets around it. By the end of the game, I was kind
of I was not very creative at all.
I was building just like one balloon with like 16 rockets on it, and I would shoot myself up like super high. But that's the extent of my creativity on those kind of little mechanics there.
Yeah, that might be why I don't really care for Ultra Hand, because I'm not that creative when it comes to building stuff like that. So for me, it was kind of like, it kind of sucked.
Yeah. I definitely like that finally we had something. Well, I already said this, but I like that this time it wasn't just magnetic stuff, and you could literally just pick up anything in the world, like, except for rock formations. Like, geez, that would be nuts. But
yeah,
I am God. It just picks up a rock formation. Yeah, I think my favorite would probably just be the typical airplane, because I never really built anything that crazy. The minecarts were kind of fun, but they only had little usage in the Goron Mountains.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like building. It was a fun time. Do you have any more thoughts? More on the story, more on the gameplay, or should we, hand it over to the chat here? I mean, there's obviously quite a bit that we can talk about here, but
there is.
I was gonna say. Oh, go ahead.
I was the only thing that I can really think of is that I like how they touched on the lore, as in like who was the first king of Hyrule, which was Rauru. and his wife Sonia, which looks like Zelda. So that's how the Zelda descendant goes down.
Hmm.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, I thought that was very, very nice to see, just like where it started.
Yeah.
But that's about the only thing I can think of.
I was thinking too, because the one complaint, well, I guess the one complaint I seen about the 100% shrine completion thing was that how did the first hero of Hyrule have a tail? And then people were going off about how, oh, maybe he, like, Raru himself had a mixed relationship with the Hylians, so maybe that's what happened. Like, there was a mixed relationship, and it was a Zonai, but he's not actually, like, full Zonai. He's, like, mixed with the Hylian to
Yeah,
Zonai,
yeah,
Which was cool. Like, the whole lore of just seeing the. Well, there was a little bit of questions I had at the beginning of, like, well, Skyward Sword kind of establishes first Hyrule, right?
it's
Um,
supposed to.
but I mean, I guess this kind of negates that in a way. Maybe Raru was like, I would assume he's the absolute first king of Hyrule. Then maybe it fell. Then you have Skyward Sword, and then it's all up in the sky, right? Um, at the end of Skyward Sword, correct me or remind me, do they go back down to the earth at the end? Like that was the whole thing is that they go back down at the end, right?
I'm pretty sure. I'm not actually 100%. I haven't played Skyward Sword in a very long time,
Yeah.
but that sounds right. So I believe that's correct.
Okay. Yeah. So, timeline wise, I was getting a little like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But then again, I just played Skyward Sword for the first time, like a couple, like a year ago, and just seeing the whole story play out, it's like, oh, this is the first king of Hyrule. But then you go to Skyward Sword, and it's like, well, this guy was kind of the first. Well, not the king, but you had the
Yeah,
first kingdom of Hyrule, which maybe that's the whole
and that's
gist
why
of
they
it.
said that it was supposed to connect to uh, Skyward Sword. Like it was supposed to
Hmm.
like do like a loop, but I did not get that
I
at the end of
I
this
knew that
game.
you were like fully on that train before the game started of like, the whole game is gonna loop back and like have this whole timeline connect to each other, right?
Yeah, I
Which would
thought
have
it
been
was.
sick, bro, but they didn't do that. But
Yeah, so I mean, like you're right though. They do raise a lot of questions because Skyward Sword is supposed to be the first of
hmm
the series as far as like timeline.
yeah.
So how? I mean, like I don't know. That is a little finicky. Like I
hmm
get where you're coming from for sure.
Yeah. Maybe they'll expand on it in the future, they slowly do. But
They do, yeah.
we'll see, we'll see. Last thing that I did talk about, and maybe we'll talk about it now, is where do you think the series is gonna go, timeline wise? Do you think they're gonna go back to maybe an older timeline of the Zelda franchise? Are they gonna go forward? Do you think they care about the timeline? I'm gonna ask you like a couple questions here, but feel free to ask or answer any
Y-
one of them.
So for the next game, I think they're gonna go back to a previous timeline or maybe add something in a previous timeline. I don't think they're gonna add on to tiers. That's just me thinking that. Do they care about the timeline? I think they do.
Hmm.
I just think they get kind of confused maybe at points on where the story should be and how it should be. Because I mean, they have like a whole Zelda timeline,
The whole
book
book,
and
yeah.
like yeah, they have like a whole thing about it. So I'm not gonna say they don't care about it, but I think they should be a little bit more. I guess I don't know if the word acute is right, but they should be a little bit more just mindly of
Hmm.
the way it makes sense. The way
As
it just
much as two things, as much as you love Marvel, which I know you do, and as much as they're doing kind of mid right now, like nothing's been like fantastic past Endgame. I feel like Zelda should have, and maybe they do, just one guy that's solely like, all right, this is the timeline. You need to make a game within this sort of time period of the Zelda franchise. Go ahead, but you have to connect it to this and this.
yes.
They should have somewhat of that, and maybe IG Numa does do that. We don't know. Um, but who knows? Maybe this whole time they've been connecting it, and they're just not done. Like they have certain things that they're gonna like reveal as connective tissue between these two games and other games in particular.
And that could happen. That would be really cool to see, but
Yeah.
that's definitely a possibility.
But for new games, I think you said you want something past Tears of the Kingdom. Is that what you said? Or
So,
before?
you mean like it just like the next game that they're gonna come out for Legend of Zelda?
Yeah, like say if it's a 2D, a 3D, timeline wise, where do you think they're gonna put it? Before Tears,
So,
after Tears?
I do think it'll be before. Now, what I'm looking forward to is another 3D game,
Mm-hmm.
but making it a little more conventional
Mm-hmm.
Zelda. Um, I feel like we've gotten two games now of Zelda back to back that we've had for like since 2017, and now we're gonna have this one for easily maybe another 5 years. So there's gonna be
Yeah.
a whole decade of this open world. Let's kind of kick it back to how we used to do with old Zeldas, traditional dungeons, finding the keys, getting your upgrades. I think that'd be kind of a just a nice setback after a whole decade of the open world.
Yeah. I would actually like them to go back and just do a traditional 2D. Like, just do something nice and simple. Like, it's not simple, but something that is a little bit more laid back where we don't have to, crane our necks for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours looking for Koroks and whatnot. But
Yes.
I do like this kind of Zelda, and I wonder if they'll ever go back to 2D in a way, because they seem to be, one, they're making lots of copies, they're selling lots of copies, which makes a company go, okay, we're just gonna pump out more of this, you know?
Exactly.
So that's a factor too. I don't know. Will they ever make a 2D Zelda game again? Probably, but um, in my mind, I think Zelda has transformed into like this open world 3D genre that a lot of games now have just fallen into. Not just Zelda, like Witcher, you have like Skyrim-esque games that have come out and they're all just open world now. Like Spider-Man's open world, you have um, just name any game. Like they're starting to all come to this open world aspect, and Nintendo's starting to do it as well.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where we are. Well, that's kind of where the gaming industry is going, is the open world. But I mean, I kind of hope they bring a 2D, but I don't think they will because it doesn't seem like they're gonna make a new handheld system like the
Yeah.
Nintendo 3DS is. Like the server's about to get shut down. So, are they done doing the whole handheld slash home console since
Mhm.
the Switch is both, and the
Yeah.
Switch 2 is rumored to be both? I mean, I
What
don't
I
know.
l- what I loved, and I hope they do it again, was the Link's Awakening remake, where it's a 2D top-down 2D game, and they made it into like this 3D 2D game where now it's kind of 3D, but you're still in that 2D landscape. But it's more of like an art style. Like that art style was fantastic. I loved it. So I wonder
Yeah.
if they could do that again, maybe for a remake, even a new game. Like give us, I don't know, something new, something old. Give us the Oracle games. I've never actually. I'm such a fake Zelda fan. I've never actually completed the Oracle games. So something like that would be nice if they were to go back and make a remake for the next game, or if they were to make a new game. I would love to see 2D, but again, I don't know because of the whole um, pricing, like sales of this game, and how people are always looking for open world 3D games now.
Yeah, true.
So we'll see. I hope again that we get something new within the next 5 years, but I want them to take their time and just. I know I'm already saying let's get a new game, and this game just came out. Like I don't think they're gonna do DLC for this game. I think they made it clear that there's not gonna be DLC for this game. You never
Yeah,
know,
and
but
I kind of don't want them to. There's enough content in this game. They don't need DLC.
imagine. We added a
Yeah.
third map. Like we had a second and a third map for you. That would have been nutty. Yeah. Anyways, let's go to some viewer questions. Maybe we can come back to our own topics here, but I think we have two, and they kind of relate to what we talked about already. We have Toad here. Let me just pop it up. What do you think about the ending of Tears of the Kingdom? I thought that Ganondorf was pretty easy to beat, and I didn't like the fact that Destroy Ganondorf quest never goes away. Also, Reid, did you buy the Zelda and Ganondorf amiibo figures yet? Right off the bat, no, I haven't. I haven't really looked into it, and I know everywhere else is sold out. You told me about Nintendo's store but I haven't really bought it off Nintendo Store before, so maybe that's holding me back a bit. Also, I should stop spending my money, but I should get the Ganondorf amiibo. I know SchniDog here wants it as well, but have you pre-ordered it yet?
No, I haven't. I don't really intend to. I'm sure they'll eventually come out to where I can get my hands on one. My voice is going out.
It's
Jesus.
all good.
But yeah, I definitely want Ganondorf. I don't know if I'm gonna buy the Zelda one, but Ganondorf for sure.
Yeah, and with the amiibos, I feel like they're not going to do anything with them, but people are like, "Oh, what if Ganondorf has like hero mode on it?" That would be kind of dumb in a way to have a
Yeah.
a price block on it. Like you have to buy money to get hero mode. But I would like to see what it comes with. If it comes with the Demon King armor, I would be losing my mind. I'd be like, all right, I'm playing Tears again with just the Demon King armor on. But I don't see anything too crazy. But yes, I plan on buying them probably when they come out, or maybe when they hit like $50. Probably that's what's gonna happen, because scalpers are annoying. But anyways,
Yeah.
there's that, and the ending of Tears of the Kingdom. I liked the final fight. It was fantastic. You got to fight Dragon Ganondorf, which was absolutely epic. The whole game was based around dragons, which, if you know me, I love dragons. Just the whole concept of a dragon and just medieval times and um, fighting these big lizard-like creatures. So to see that Zelda became one and then Ganondorf right at the end, hey, where did Link's dragon go? You know, he should have ate. He should have ate all 4 of those stones and became like, I don't know, 4-headed dragon. But
He could have been a Gleeok of his own.
that's right. He could have, they could have all lived as dragons. That would have been a cool ending. Like,
Yeah.
instead of Zelda returning to her form, Link decides to change his form for her. That's
And you
true
could end the
love.
timeline that way, just end it.
Yeah. Well, look at
Huh.
that. We could have made that game. Anyways, I love the ending of you're skydiving just like the beginning of the game, but now you're trying to catch Zelda mid fall, and apparently if you leave her there for long enough, it just restarts the it
Yeah.
restarts the thing. Because imagine her just like fucking smacking the ground and
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Gwen
I was like, what if I
Stacy
just don't
style.
catch her? Like, does she die? And do you have to
Yeah.
start over? But no, it just resets.
That'd been funny if they had said your file's been erased. Try again. You played like 200 hours of the game, and they're like, yeah, try again.
Oh.
But that whole ending was very touching. The whole I'm home part, that was very emotional. I was like, oh, great, like finally she is not burdened with the force of Ganondorf and Calamity Ganon. She's finally herself after thousands and thousands of years of being the dragon.
Yeah.
I would like to see a little bit more voice acting maybe in the next game. I know they're probably not going to do that. But if they did, that would be pretty awesome, because the voice acting that they're starting to do is getting there. I actually liked it quite a bit. Some voice actors they're all right. But to actually have voices instead of this text all the time,
Yes.
it's very good for one, accessibility for other people that might not have, great vision. Because even Xbox now, not to get into other tangents here, but like Xbox itself is doing a really great thing where they're trying more for accessibility for like the blind and the deaf. Nintendo could technically do that with more voice acting so that there's not a lot of text and it's more accessible story-wise for other people, but it's also accessible for me because I don't want to read. But that's just one thing I thought about at the end. But what are your thoughts again on the end, the absolute end of the game, the story itself?
I thought it was great. Like I said, I mean, I kind of seen it coming. Like I kind of figured it was gonna happen, but it was awesome. Like I mean, the fight was amazing. The fight had enough difficulty for me since I wasn't fully prepared that it wasn't too easy. So I feel like the difficulty was there, especially for the other bosses that I beat basically without getting hit, for the exception of one.
Yeah.
And the dragon was just really cool. Like I thought that was really awesome. Didn't want to accept defeat, turns into a dragon, and then you have that final boss. But I do agree with Just Toad here. I do find that incredibly annoying that the quest never goes away. I hate that.
I hate that like Nintendo does it all the time. Like, not to bring up Spider-Man again, but you beat the game and the quest is gone. It's like, all right, you saved the city. This one's just like, nah, redo it, keep going. Which in a way I like, because then I can just go back to Ganondorf. But then again, I could do that on my own time. I could just make another save file and go back and play it again if I wanted to.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
which another thing, I was gonna bring up the what was I gonna bring up? Oh, the fact of I had two things in my mind here, but one of the things was the fact that this time Ganon's health doesn't go to half right away if you beat all the temples. Because in Breath of the Wild, dude, like that was so easy. It's just like you go up to Calamity Ganon, this big spider like Ganon, and then his health just gets obliterated.
Yes.
And you kill him pretty easily. This one was like, no, you're fighting 3 phases. Actually, sorry, 4 phases
I
because
think it
you
is
have
4, yeah.
because you have the Moblin fights as well, like the army. Then you go fight Ganon, which I think it has 4 phases, right?
I think it does have 4.
But yeah, I did like the hard factor of the final boss, which was nice to have something that matched even with full hearts, full armor sets and all that. It still made it harder than Breath of the Wild's ending, because Breath of the Wild's ending was like absolutely child's play by the end, which some
I
games
agree.
which some games do, sorry, because you get so overpowered and it's just like, all right, I could beat anything in this game, even the final boss,
Yeah.
So, what was I gonna say though? I was gonna say something on top of that. Anyways, the other thing I was gonna talk about that I forget now is oh my god. Do you have any comments while I try to figure this one out?
Uh,
Let's see. What was I gonna say? I always lose my train of thought, so forgive me. Um, but yeah, I like the whole aspect of not having such a easy boss fight. I'm trying to remember. We'll keep going here. Let's read Cuban Craft's little comment here. We're gonna skip Tux's. If Tux is in the chat, I'm sorry, but that's not really a question. I love you, but that's not a question. Anyways, Cuban Craft says, "What lore do you think related to the shrine reward is about the fact that the ancient hero wasn't Julian? Who's Julian? And how does it affect the lore?" Well, we kind of already gone into it, but the Shrine Reward is the first hero of Hyrule. He is on the mural, which actually does connect Breath of the Wild to Tears, now that I think about it. Because in Breath of the Wild, you have this mural, and you have Calamity Ganon, but you have a fighter with red hair, and it's not Link. So that is, I would assume, the first hero of Hyrule, the Zonai guy, which they implemented a little bit more in Breath of the Wild of what would come next, unlike this game where it's like, we don't care about the last game, keep going.
yeah.
Which was nice that they had more lore of just this Zonai character that was the first hero fighting Calamity. Now you can wear him and wear his skin. Sorry, it's a little darker than that. Anyways, that's pretty much all the lore I would say. Like, there's not much lore to it other than the fact that he was the first hero of Hyrule. They could have expanded on a little bit more, but it's Nintendo, so they really didn't have a story to it, right? They give it to you and they're like, this is this guy, Anyways, your last question here though is Koga. Koga is still stupid. You just watch SchniDog fight him. He's still stupid.
I wasn't a fan of Koga at all. I thought it was stupid. It was really dumb.
Just like this game in particular, Koga's fight lasted 4 fights. That was a lot of fun. I'm being sarcastic because it's just literally you go around the map and you fight him again, and he's like, "All right, come find me at this place," and you're like, "All right," you go over there, fight him again.
It's just more nonsense of having to travel to do something that's unnecessary.
Yeah, and the whole thing of the last one. So I was exploring like I was, and you're in Rito Village, and you got this big chasm spot that I couldn't reach, and I was trying to find the entrance to it. And I'm like, okay, this is something gonna be really cool here, but it was just stupid Koga fight again, and that time he actually says where Ganon is, which I didn't pick up on. Again, I was playing this game generally from this time on to about 3 a.m., so I was skipping some stuff as I was playing, which actually Koga does tell you the Demon King is below Hyrule Castle, which actually I have a thought about that as well. But yeah, what did
I kind of figured that from the beginning. Like I thought he was under
Yeah.
there from the get-go.
Well, I mean, I guess I had a buddy that was more trying to like second guess me because I was so on the ball with it. I'm just like, obviously he's below Hyrule Castle. He literally fell down there. right?
Yeah.
Um, oh my god, I forgot my train of thought again. The whole thing about him being underneath Hyrule Castle, I wonder. Oh, that was what I was gonna say. I wonder if you could fight Ganon from the beginning, like Breath of the Wild. I didn't really look into it. I don't know if any of you know in the chat, but I I wonder, can you just go and fight Ganon at the beginning of the game? And would you do that to you, SchniDog? Would you actually
Ooh,
go and try to fight him at the
nope.
beginning?
Considering the trouble that I had with just what I had, resources I had at the time, fighting him and dying. Jeez, my voice is gone.
You are dying.
Yeah. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, unless there's like some type of speed run hack where you can kill him easily, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I don't think it's possible. I really don't think it's possible. Like, without the Master Sword, which I heard if you don't have the Master Sword while you fight him, is it the first phase? One of the phases. Oh, I guess it would be the last phase, because the last phase you absolutely need the Master Sword. Like, there's no way you can, like, obliterate him without the Master Sword. So,
Really?
I heard if you don't have the Master Sword by the end, the dragon or Zelda will have it on top of her, and there's a whole cutscene. Like, you just take it out of Zelda right at the end. I don't know if you need stamina for it, but I would assume
Huh.
not, because that kind of soft locks you. It's just like, well,
Yeah.
you don't have enough stamina, sorry. So I wonder, I kind of want to do that in a way, and I really don't, because it's such a hard fight. Like, you literally have to dodge it perfectly if you're not going in with
Yes.
any sunflowers, whatever the sunflower was on the Sky Islands, right?
Yes. Yeah. To restore your hearts, right? Right?
Yeah, because with the gloom, which we actually didn't talk about this, gloom is kind of annoying in a way because you literally have this, you literally have gloom that takes away your hearts, and they can't come back unless you go to a light route or you go back up to the surface.
Yeah.
I just used arrows to defeat Ganondorf. You're on some other level there, Toad. But what was I talking about? Yeah, so to go to the surface and find these sunflowers, it's so hard to beat Ganondorf without the most OP weapon. Which thankfully the Master Sword doesn't lose its strength when you fight Ganondorf. Because if it did, I'd be like crying my way, and I wouldn't have beaten him the first time. I don't think it can despawn when you're fighting Ganondorf there, which is nice.
But I mean, that would have been stupid if it did, because that's supposed to be like the final fight. The Master Sword's part of
Imagine.
the story.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Oh, do you have any other questions there, Toad, or anybody else in the chat? I think these dragons are more snake-like. They're more like a, what would you call, like, Chinese dragon? Like, their culture has more of the snake-like dragon. I don't know
Yeah,
about
they do. Which I
Japan.
mean, they the storytellers are from China, right? So
Oh,
or
they are,
Japan.
eh?
So I mean, it kind of makes sense that that's how they artistically made the dragons.
Yeah. Which, again, I love the whole dragon thing. Like, as I've said before, dragons are freaking amazing. And even getting the, oh, what armor set is it? It was like some heat-related armor set. And you get the dragon horns. Absolutely sick. I loved it. It was fantastic. But one thing we didn't talk about, what is your favorite armor set? What were some of your favorite armor sets, some of your favorite new abilities? Because there's one in particular that I'm thinking of that had an amazing ability to it. So what are your, like, all-time favorite sets that you were using throughout the game?
I mean, just for nostalgia, it was just the previous heroes sets. So like the Zant's costume, Twilight Princess costume, Wind Waker's, the hero tunic, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. I like those just because it was a touch on the older games.
Mm-hmm.
Something I found myself using a lot was the unfreezable, I think it was Zant's costume. It was
Zant,
you couldn't get frozen. I like
yeah.
that.
I found these later on, but as well, the unfreezable one is fantastic. Or the unfreezable one, the fire-related one, they're all fantastic for, like, one, the elemental enemies, but as well the Gleeoks. Because the Gleeoks, they got kind of stupid. I'm not gonna lie. If you're unfreezable, like the King Gleeok was fantastic. If say he was trying to shoot you with ice or the fire one or whatever. But one thing that I found later on were I don't even remember the name of them. But there was two tunics, not real tunics, but like more of a robe in a way. It was like an ice robe, and there was like a fire robe, and they had the ability of unfreezable and whatever they call it, heatable. I don't think that's the word, but those were fantastic. But my favorite though was the gliding costume, the little flying squirrel costume that you got from the
Ooh.
certain sky islands that you went to, and the little Zonai guy was like, "All right, do my little task, and I'll give you something, right?" Dude,
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
love that one. Love that one. I was using that quite a bit because you just be in the sky, and its ability is just to allow you to glide further.
Yeah.
It was so cool, so cool. That and we talked about the frog costume. What else did I use? I mean, I used all the classic ones too. I loved getting the Link's Awakening one, which I totally looked up. That was like the one that I looked up. I was like, I don't know where to find this. And it was actually very hard to find. You would actually need to be like on the ball with that to find it. You had to do like 3 different things to get it. You had to go behind a Gleeok. I think you had to kill the Gleeok, but they were all underneath. I say underneath. Everything's kind of got a chasm to it, but there were like secret entrances to these caves to go find the Link's Awakening costume bits. Like in the Breath of the Wild game, you had that Thunder challenge. I don't know if you remember where the kind of where the Rito is. It's the it's where those mushroom-looking not plants, but the trees are. And you go and you have to put the 4 orbs in, and then you get the rubber costume there. But in this
Oh,
game,
okay.
you had to do a certain thing, and then you opened up the the basement of this place. I'm putting this in quotations, and you found your first piece of the Link's Awakening armor. Then you go over to this Gleeok, and then you got the second one, and then you had to do something else for the third. But that in particular, even with like again Spider-Man, but Spider-Man has like the one costume that doesn't have the same animation style. Um, it was really cool to see Link's Awakening. It's just like this really stupid costume if you haven't seen it there, SchniDog, where it's literally the art style of Link's Awakening, but within Tears of
No.
the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Like
I haven't seen it, so.
it's like a bobblehead like Link. It's so funny. Um, Other costumes. There's so many costumes. I should have my game open right now just to look at them all. I'm so unprepared. But to the chat, I guess, because I do see a couple more people popping on in. Hello, Alex. What were your favorite costumes? What were your least favorite costumes? Did you have a least favorite costume there, SchniDog?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
They all kind of served a purpose. I mean, I guess the weak ones would be my least favorite because I never use them.
Yeah.
But I mean, there wasn't really. But I mean, it's kind of the purpose of it. Like it's like the starter.
Mm-hmm.
The starter. It's not going to be the best, but I mean, I don't really necessarily have a least
I wish
favorite.
the starter tunic though did have a little bit of an upgrade to it. That would have been fun to upgrade
Yeah.
that barbarian-esque tunic to it. I used the Zonai armor a lot. That one was good once you completed the shrines, but again, the stupid mouth didn't move, so I was mad at it the whole time. Once I realized he didn't move, it was just like this static image. I was like, oh, that ruined it a little bit. Yeah, everything had its purpose. Like even this costume we're wearing now, like the miner's outfit was fantastic once I found it. Even though it didn't give much of a light upgrade, it still had that boost of light, which was nice.
Yes.
And I would say the my least favorite ones were the ugly ones. I know I go for like the sick ass ones, walking around in Link's tunic, but I would even say this one's kind of ugly. But I used it for
It is a little bit.
I use it for its usage more than its looks there.
Yeah.
Oh, I had one more thing in my mind. Oh, the mazes. The mazes this time. I again like the whole game, like we've been talking about this whole time. The game is 3 times its size. There's so much to do in this game, and the mazes themselves really, did the same thing where you had your regular maze. Okay, you beat the regular maze. Now go to the sky. All right, now you're in the sky. Now we're gonna send you to the depths. Go do that
Yep.
maze. Which I like the sky maze the most of all out of all the mazes, because the depths one, I haven't said the depths
Which
all stream. I've been saying chasm the whole time. But the depths though, you get there and it's not really a maze. It's literally just fight a
no,
construct.
it's
and
a, yeah, you
call
fight a
it a day.
construct. The sky was definitely the best because the I guess the middle or Hyrule was the exact same maze as Breath of the Wild. They didn't
Yeah.
change it.
They're like,
So
oh, let's just give them the answer. We'll throw acorns
yeah,
around. Even though, like, if you've played Breath of the Wild, which maybe some people haven't, they're jumping into tears for the first time. It's their first Zelda game. It's just easy. It's like, oh, I'm following acorns to the end here.
yeah.
Like,
Which if you played Breath of the Wild, it was stupidly hard.
yeah, I love the mazes, and I love that kind of stuff where there's like a puzzle, like a maze, um, which kind of sucks in a way that they of course they would use the same one for the beginning,
Yeah,
but they could have maybe not have put the acorns in there.
exactly.
It made it way too easy, way too easy. I think we're running out of things to say here. I don't know if you want to wrap up with your favorite moments again, what your overall rating of the game is. Any more thoughts before we end here?
Yeah, we can wrap up only because my voice is apparently shot for whatever reason. Um, yeah, I mean, again, to touch up, my favorite parts was definitely fighting Ganon because of the scenery, I don't know, I feel like the voice acting was really well done for
It was
Ganon
what,
and
Matt
Zelda.
Mercer?
Yeah,
I
I
think it was
believe
Matt
so.
Mercer for Ganon.
And it was just, I don't know, I thought it really fit the mood. I thought the voice acting was really well done. That just kind of took me off guard. And the fact that it had four phases, if I can get it out. You know, my only knock on the game is that it's too much of a spitting image of Breath of the Wild, and that they have way too many collectibles. I get to have some stuff to the game, have it take you some time, but like there's just way too much. It's overwhelming, and I just don't think a majority of people are gonna have fun with that many collectibles.
Well, it's like the DK64 syndrome in a way. Like that game still holds up to the most collectibles, I assume. I don't think this game surpasses it, but maybe it does. I haven't looked it up because DK64 had literally the most collectibles. It was Guinness Book of World Records of like
Yeah.
most collectibles in a video game. That was it's crazy how many collectibles are in this game, and it doesn't have the same kind of effect as DK64 where you have to literally like switch out to different characters to get these certain collectibles. But yeah, again, so many different things to do. If I had like no stream life where I just played this game by myself, maybe I would have a little bit more fun of a time just collecting stuff. Because in a way as well, for me, I didn't want to get spoiled on the game, so I was kind of in a way rushing. I was like, I gotta at least beat the story at some point, so nobody like nobody comes into my YouTube channel and is like, hey, you know about the Dragon Ganondorf fight? I was
Yeah, that
so
would have
scared
sucked.
about that. I was actually like horrified to have that happen.
Yeah, because
Um,
there's people out there like that.
oh yeah, definitely. I'm not saying that my chat's like that, but there would be one guy coming in being like, "Yo, you played Zelda, right?"
We're not gonna call you out, but Turks. No, I'm just kidding.
Tux. Oh my god. So what's your rating? Get out of 1 to 10, what would you say Tears of the Kingdom lands for you?
So if you take out just like talking about Breath of the Wild and all that stuff, and it's like, just the game itself,
Mhm.
I mean, it's hard not to give it, an 8.8 plus. You can't really give it lower than that. But when you add everything that I'm saying and you see that Breath of the Wild is almost exactly like this game,
Mhm.
it kind of makes it to maybe like a 6 out of 10 for me. Just a little above average.
Okay. Before I go into my spiel, this guy was absolutely horrible. This big bokoblin dude. I mean, he wasn't like the worst, but the first one I fought with the armor on, oh my god, disgusting. Um, Alex writes in with Dragon Ganondorf was a nightmare fuel, and he says actually Dragendorf. Love Dragendorf. Love the fact that he actually ate the what do you call it? The oh my god, the tear. It's called the tear, and he actually
Yeah.
his eyes just go slant, and he turns into the dragon in this horrific scene. It was fantastic. Even Zelda's transformation was very, very, very horrific, and it looked painful for her. But you know, she lived. Oh well. Secret Stone? I guess Secret Stone. And the whole repeating of the imprisoning war, I'll just ramble on one more time. The whole imprisoning war, I like the story of the imprisoning war, but it went on for far too long. Like, you go to each temple and they told you the exact same story, just from like a slightly different point of view, you know?
Yeah.
That's my only complaint about the backstory. The backstory was great. Way, 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 way better than Breath of the Wild. Had more significance. And again, like I said off the bat on this live stream, the whole fact that you do it out of order is kind of a little rough. But the story itself is fantastic in my opinion. Secret Stones, the eyes. Yeah, the eyes went absolutely crazy for that. But overall, I like this game. Again, it doesn't take much for me to like absolutely like love a game, especially coming off of Breath of the Wild. Especially coming off of Breath of the Wild from stream. Like we played the prequel, the first game, right up until Tears. So I had this whole thing where I played Zelda, went into the sequel, and was just playing the exact same map, but with like so many different nuances and differences that made it kind of like a very cool experience to see. Like I don't know, Terrytown change in a way, and it's more reformed and it's a bigger town now. And to see like Zoro's domain get like destroyed, same with the Gerudo village. Very cool differences between the games. Um,
Yeah.
I loved every like little thing that had changed from the upheaval and things falling down, the big craters in the earth, to fighting the bosses again. I didn't really fight the bosses too much again. Like you go down to the depths and it's like, oh, Colgera's there. Go fight Colgera again. And I was actually kind of scared. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot that he was down there one time, and all of a sudden this big roar happens behind him. I was like, oh fuck, I'm dead. Like that was a very scary experience. I kind of jumped a little bit at 2 a.m. But yeah, overall, I think it's a fantastic game. It has so much to do, and again, if I wasn't streaming, if I wasn't like so focused on beating the game, I would have liked the collectibles a little bit more. I would be stressed still because there's so much to get, and there's not really a check. Well, there is. There's not really a check mark of what you have until you beat the game, and it's like, oh, you've beaten 66% of this game, which was absolutely insane. I thought I would have at least gotten 70%, you know? Maybe 80% of the game done, but oh well. The game gives you a little percentage of how many things you actually completed in the world, which is kind of nice for completion. But anyways, guys, I would give it probably an 8 out of 10. It was really fun. Love the story. Love the Ganondorf fight. Love talking about it with you guys tonight. Finally, I've been holding back a couple things, but I talk a lot about Zelda and my thoughts and whatnot on a bunch of different things. But you have anything else to say, SchniDog, or are we good to let you take a bit of a rest here?
No, I think it was awesome, man. I mean, I want to do more of these. Hopefully, next time my voice isn't shot
Oh, good.
by the end of it. But no, I mean, I liked it. And there's still a lot more things to delve into as well. That's like that this game is so great. But maybe for like future stuff, we can delve into other topics as well.
Definitely. I would love to do this again. Let me know in the chat if you like this. I had a lot of fun. You know, obviously my streams have technical issues most of the time, so forgive me on those. Next time I probably will be a bit more prepared with the video, even though I had like 5 months to do this. But that comes with time. We'll string out our plan for these spoiler talks, and if you like these, we'll do more. We'll make it a series if you'd like it. I had a lot of fun. I get to sleep a little bit earlier tonight, which is crazy. When will your next stream be? Well, just for you guys in the chat, tomorrow we're gonna play some Spider-Man. We're gonna finish off Spider-Man tomorrow night, so that'll be fun. But I want to thank SchniDog for joining me tonight, for you know, talking with me, helping the stream go by very smoothly. And if you haven't checked them out already, go check out SchniDog. I was gonna say gaming, but SchniDog on YouTube. We got his link down in the chat here if you want to go check him out. Is there anywhere else they can find you, SchniDog, or what's going on with you with the YouTube scene right now? What's your big plan if you want to reveal it? If you don't, just say screw you.
No, that's cool. So like my plans for YouTube is I want to stream maybe once a week, but I'm going to be solely focusing on recordings and uploads for YouTube and kind of see where that takes me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I want to do more videos. Maybe I'll make a video tonight. We'll see.
Ooh.
We'll see. We'll see. I've been talking to some people, and last night we had the cards out. I was showing them my $300 card, not the flex, but I was thinking, I'm like, I got all these cards that I've been meaning to make videos of, so might as well, Anyways, very off topic, but maybe we'll make a video. Hopefully, you guys are hyped for that, and we'll see you in the future. We'll have another collab with SchniDog fairly soon, I would say. We got something cooking, kind of.
Yeah.
We've been thinking about it for like months and months and months and months. So now that this is out, I've done it. My stress is gone. I was kind of stressed for this because I wanted everything to be perfect as usual. And, obviously nothing can be truly perfect. You'll always have one or two issues here or there. And, always things to improve on. So again, if you like this, we'll do it again. Let me know what we can do better, what you would like to see for the next spoiler review, the next spoiler talk. It can be an older game that we haven't talked about before. It can be like Mario Wonder that's coming up. Sonic, I think, is out like today. Was it today or like, I would assume it would be Friday, no?
Whoa, super! The
Sonic is
All Stars or whatever.
Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of rambling here, but I think Sonic's out already. Anyways, let me know what you want to see in the future. If you are watching not live, again, just let me know in the Discord what you want to see in a future live stream, in the comments, whatever you want to do. And I want to thank Alex, Just Toad, everybody else that was here. Thank you so much for being here, even though we weren't really interacting with you guys tonight. It is a bit of a different thing. Mostly people like the interaction aspect and the, oh my god, hi Just Toad, what's up? But thank you so much for sticking around, just listen to us ramble for 2 hours here. And I want to thank SchniDog again. And again, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the like button if you did like this live stream channel's content. Join the Discord. And enjoy this very generic end screened. Wow.